A cancer patient got his voice back, literally, thanks to a rare voice box transplant. 59-year-old Marty Keedian is just the third patient in the United States and the first with cancer to undergo a transplant with a donated larynx. He's part of a clinical trial at the Mayo Clinic in Arizona. Now, there is some controversy surrounding larynx transplants because people can survive without a larynx. So some question whether a procedure requiring anti-rejection drugs that suppress the immune system is worth the risk. And Marty thinks it is.
For the first time since the surgery, I get to talk to my 82-year-old mother.
My patients tell me, yeah, I may be alive, but I'm not really living. And so to me, if you look at it from that perspective, being able to give that gift back to somebody, to me, that really is a vital organ.
Now, it took 10 months to find a deceased donor who had a healthy enough larynx that was just the right size. And just as his doctor assured him, Marty kept his beloved Boston accent. Joining us now, the doctor you saw in the story there, Dr. David Lott, is the chair of head and neck surgery at the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix. Dr. Lott, congratulations and thanks for joining us. Let me ask you, doctor, walk us through the criteria that you used to determine Marty's eligibility, if you will, for this transplant, especially considering his previous kidney transplant and his slow-growing cancer.
Sure, absolutely. The biggest thing we look at, especially for something as rare as this type of transplantation, beyond all the medical part of it, is the patient himself or herself. Is this somebody that's committed not only to their own rehabilitation and making sure they get better, but furthering this for other patients, and do they have the family support to go along with that? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where Marty and Gina were looking, and they really wanted to make this better, not only for themselves, but for, future and for other patients. And so that was really the biggest part.
Okay, understood. Doctor, what assurance do you have that the cancer that impacted his natural-born larynx won't impact his transplanted larynx?
Yeah, that's another great question. That's always the biggest concern with transplanting in the setting of cancer. So the nice thing with Marty's cancer is it is a relatively benign cancer.
Okay.
So when we're looking to take that next big step into making this an available option for cancer patients, it was a nice first step because it was a relatively benign, slow-growing type of a cancer.
All righty. In layman's terms, doctor, educate us, if you would, on the many challenges and complexities that are involved in this type of procedure. And how did your team overcome those obstacles during the surgery?
Yeah. The larynx is incredibly complex. We don't think about it as complex as it is. It's more than just a voice box. You can think about it as swallowing and breathing. So the important part was to try to get those nerves to the vocal folds open and close. So we did special connections of those nerves to try to make that to work for him.
Do you anticipate, doctor, or envision this procedure evolving to become a more, shall we say, common option for patients in need?
That is the hope. We know what a big impact this has on people's lives. And so if this works as well as it appears to be so far, then this may be an option for a wider variety of people.
But where would that evolvement take place?
First of all, within this clinical trial that we have started.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we do this as safely and as effectively as we possibly can to make sure we truly understand the boundaries. And hopefully there are no limitations, but if there are, we want to be able to responsibly communicate that with our patients.
Can you share some of the insights on Marty's recovery process and the strategies, the rehabilitation strategies that are used to help him regain his ability to speak and to swallow effectively?
Marty's as amazing as we hoped he would be. So I just can't get over how well he's doing. At this point, he's still, only a few months out from this big surgery. His voice is about 60% of what he says is normal for him. He's eating hamburgers and mac and cheese, and he still has a breathing tube in, but he's able to cover that and breathe around that tube even at this early point. So just absolutely outstanding, and that's a testament to his drive and he and Gina's support of him.
How soon before that tube can be removed and he is 100%, if he ever will be, to where he was years ago?
Yeah, thanks for putting that in there. That's the big question. We don't know, will he get to 100%? We sure hope so.
Sure.
we tell people it's about a year for the nerves to really start working and start getting to the point where we have a better understanding of where that may be. So my hope is right around that year mark is where we'd expect to get that tube out for him.
All right, Doc, that was fantastic. I think I've got time for one more question. Are there precautions that are taken to sort of minimize the reoccurrence of the cancer? I mean, is he still undergoing radiation? Is he still undergoing any sort of chemotherapy?
Yeah, so that's our first and foremost, our biggest thing was to make sure the cancer was gone, the margins are negative. With this specific type of cancer, it is not something he needed to undergo radiation or chemotherapy for, so we are doing very close watches of that area with scans and frequent exams.
All right, Doctor, again, congratulations and our well wishes to Marty because this is just fantastic for him, and I think he can look forward to a bright and talkative future, if you will.
Absolutely.
Thanks
you so much.
Doctor. Dr. David Lott from the Mayo Clinic there in Phoenix. Thanks for being with us tonight.